has made Sean Combs a little bit nervous.
To me on that, when you say, yeah, he looked like the gay homie, I didn't know what you were talking about.
No, I wouldn't go to. Do you think this might be too early?
Diddy stepped into the courtroom with his trademark confidence, ready to face whatever challenges the day might bring. But nothing could have prepared him for the shock that followed. When 50 Cent's new audio recording was played, the atmosphere shifted instantly. Silence swept over the room as explosive revelations echoed through the air. The music mogul, usually composed and in control, showed visible signs of cracking under the weight of the moment. What began as a series of playful jabs had now escalated into a dramatic public unraveling, one that turned the trial into a moment few will forget.
Diddy Combs walked into the courtroom yesterday wearing a sweater over a white-collared shirt and gray slacks. He hugged his attorneys when he got in.
There was a palpable tension in the courtroom as Sean Diddy Combs made his entrance yesterday. Dressed in a sweater layered over a crisp white shirt and gray slacks, he exchanged brief greetings with his legal team. His demeanor was composed, almost too composed, projecting the image of someone fully in control, especially with his tailored suit and dark sunglasses completing the look. But beneath that surface calm, the pressure was undeniable. You could feel it in the air, the way heads turned with every step he took, the way whispers floated around the room, and how everyone seemed glued to their screens, anticipating what was about to unfold. Diddy gave courteous nods and sat with an upright posture, trying to appear untouched by the chaos looming ahead. But that carefully crafted exterior began to crack sooner than anyone expected. The entire mood in the courtroom shifted the moment the new audio evidence began to play. Sourced from 50 Cent's upcoming Netflix documentary, a project already stirring plenty of debate, the recording quickly commanded full attention. A hush fell over the room as Diddy's voice echoed through the speakers, casually joking about going shopping with another man, offering to pay, and mentioning he needed to kick it. On the surface, the remarks might have sounded harmless or playful, but given the serious allegations surrounding him, the context gave them a much heavier, more unsettling significance. This wasn't just a recording being played, it was a glimpse into the version of Diddy that 50 Cent had long been hinting at, now laid bare for everyone to witness.
Serious charges against him. The three main ones are racketeering, basically extortion, sex trafficking, and the transportation of people across state lines.
Gasps echoed through the courtroom, while some in the audience looked confused or visibly uncomfortable. Toward the back, reporters sprang into action, fingers flying across keyboards as they recognized the magnitude of what had just unfolded. This was the story that would lead every headline. Even Diddy's legal team seemed rattled, exchanging uneasy glances as the recording was officially entered into evidence. The room's earlier calm dissolved in an instant, replaced by a sharp, collective focus. Every eye locked onto Diddy. At first, he remained completely still, his gaze fixed, straight ahead, betraying no emotion. But as the audio continued and the judge allowed further context to be played, the cracks began to show. His jaw tightened and his hands clenched the edge of the table just a little too firmly. And then, without warning, he exploded. Diddy shot up from his seat, his voice rising in a storm of anger and desperation. His outburst was a chaotic mix of accusations and protests, insisting the audio had been altered, demanding it be thrown out, and blaming 50 Cent for twisting the footage to smear his name. The courtroom erupted in noise until the judge firmly called for order. His attorneys rushed to steady him, trying to rein him in, but the damage was done. The composed image he had worked so hard to maintain had completely unraveled.
You go out to the prison and will you visit him just for funsies?
I don't know. Look, because you think that right now he can feel like I'm his enemy.
Wait, right now, what?
Yeah, why would I mean, I'm not his enemy. Federal government.
Cent isn't just watching this trial unfold, he's actively driving it into the public eye. His upcoming Netflix documentary, which features the now viral audio clip of Diddy, wasn't some random artistic project. It was a calculated move. 50 knew exactly what he was doing. Releasing the documentary at the height of Diddy's legal troubles wasn't a coincidence. It was a strategic play, timed to perfection to maximize its impact.
I had that thing where we had no thing. I wasn't sending nothing out of it. If it was on the street side like that, we would be actively doing things to each other.
As both the producer and narrator of the series 50 Cent made sure the documentary wasn't just a retrospective on Diddy's legacy, it was designed to peel back layers and expose long-buried truths. It unearthed stories that had lived in hushed rumors for years. But the biggest blow came with the release of that private audio clip, recorded during what appeared to be an innocent conversation. In it, Diddy's comments weren't just strange. They sparked immediate reactions in a courtroom already on edge. And that reaction? It was no accident. It was exactly what 50 Cent had intended. Say what you will about 50 Cent. He's built a reputation as a top-tier troll, a marketing genius, and one of hip-hop's most relentless score settlers. But this documentary goes far beyond petty vengeance. The long-running feud between him and Diddy has played out for years, through sly jabs in interviews, cryptic social media posts, and tongue-in-cheek nods to old rumors. Yet with Diddy now entangled in serious legal trouble, 50 saw his moment. This time he didn't settle for memes or veiled insults. He went all in, crafting a narrative that exposed a version of Diddy the public was never supposed to hear.
When you continuously call Puff gay, does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said,
Let me read it.
You could call it personal revenge, and maybe there's some truth to that. But it also feels like 50 Cent is aiming at something much bigger, something he believes has been deliberately buried within the industry for years. The documentary wasn't just a weapon for payback. It became a mirror held up to the public, revealing uncomfortable truths. And whether people like 50 or not, his strategy is hitting its mark. The fact that the court admitted that audio as evidence says everything about its weight. It wasn't just a throwaway conversation. It was a raw, revealing moment that confirmed suspicions people had whispered about for years. As the audio played, the courtroom grew heavy with tension. Diddy's remarks weren't just awkward, they struck a nerve. His casual offer, "Yo, why don't we go shopping? I'll pay for it," came across as bold and unsettling, crossing boundaries with an ease that surprised everyone. The relaxed tone hinted at a familiarity with pushing limits, something unexpected from a high-profile figure like him. Silence fell over the room as everyone absorbed the full impact of what had just been revealed. It wasn't just that single comment. The entire conversation revealed a troubling pattern that blurred professional boundaries in ways many found unsettling. Diddy's references to kicking it and the odd remark about playing with your booty in Miami made the courtroom uneasy and raised significant concerns. These casual but charged statements only intensified the long-standing rumors surrounding Diddy's behavior. Intentions aside, the fact that these words were recorded and brought into the courtroom made them impossible to dismiss. The air was thick with the gravity of the evidence, signaling that this matter wasn't going away anytime soon. The audio didn't merely raise questions about Diddy's character, it appeared to validate the more serious accusations that had lingered around him for years. Although rumors about his questionable behavior behind closed doors had been whispered for quite some time, this recording offered tangible proof. It pieced together a clearer picture that was difficult to refute, exposing a side of Diddy that many had only suspected until now. The audio also reinforced the broader accusations against Diddy, especially those concerning toxic behavior and manipulation within the music industry. His casual dismissal of boundaries and the way he addressed others lined up with the allegations that had shadowed him for years. What had once been dismissed as rumors or gossip was now backed by hard evidence, making it increasingly difficult for Diddy to stick to his version of events. The moment the audio was introduced in court marked a turning point. It wasn't just unexpected, it changed the entire trajectory of the trial. The prosecution gained powerful proof that directly contradicted Diddy's defense. Prior to the audio's revelation, the case relied heavily on allegations and hearsay. But hearing Diddy's own words, his offhand comments about inappropriate behavior, altered the entire landscape. It was no longer just a matter of, he said, she said. The prosecution now held solid evidence, a crucial piece that reinforced their case and underscored Diddy's actions as part of a troubling pattern.
Celebrities, 6 men and 2 women. How many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 men.
This new piece of evidence gave the prosecution a major edge, allowing them to paint a much clearer picture of Diddy's conduct. It became far more difficult for the defense to simply dismiss the claims. The audio went beyond a single inappropriate remark. It revealed a persistent pattern of toxic behavior and manipulation that had been hidden for years. With this disclosure, the prosecution was able to argue that the case wasn't just a personal dispute. It reflected a broader, more serious series of actions demanding attention. This wasn't merely about the allegations, it was about the truth the audio laid bare about Diddy's character.
Be a life sentence. The sex trafficking is 15 years minimum, and the transportation for prostitution purposes is 10 years minimum. So
the legal consequences were immediate and harsh. As the audio played in court, Diddy's credibility took a severe blow, exposing damaging details that left his defense team scrambling for answers. No legal maneuvering could erase the impact of his own words. The courtroom buzzed with shock and disbelief, making it clear that Diddy's position had weakened dramatically. Efforts by his defense to minimize the audio only came across as defensive, strengthening the prosecution's argument. Diddy's team released a statement, but it felt like mere damage control, insisting the recording was taken out of context. Yet, the bluntness of the content was difficult to dispute. Media outlets pounced on the story, turning the courtroom drama into headline news across platforms. Once considered untouchable, Diddy was now under intense public scrutiny, facing serious allegations head-on.
No deal that the U.S. Attorney's Office can offer, and it's certainly not one that Diddy will accept. It would involve decades in federal prison. We're talking about mandatory minimum sentences of 10 years for both the drug charges and the sex trafficking.
Reactions to the controversy were sharply divided. Loyal fans defended Diddy, dismissing the leaked audio as a smear campaign by his rivals, unwilling to believe their icon could be involved in such allegations. Conversely, many felt a sense of betrayal, viewing the audio as confirmation of long-held doubts and voicing their shock on social media. Fellow artists weighed in as well. Some chose to distance themselves while others offered their support. Within the close-knit music community, the fallout was palpable. For some, this moment served as validation, while those closer to Diddy responded with cautious restraint.
Detail he could go into about his testimony. And because the 8 people in the videos, the 8 celebrities in the videos were allegedly victims of sex crimes, we know who they are, but we will not be naming them.
Social media quickly turned up the heat on Diddy's courtroom meltdown. Platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok were inundated with memes, reactions, and heated opinions. Each post added fuel to the fire, keeping the story trending and impossible to overlook. The media capitalized on this wave of public attention, ensuring the controversy stayed front and center. The rivalry between Diddy and 50 Cent has simmered for nearly 20 years, dating back to the mid-2000s when 50 launched a fierce verbal assault on Diddy. At the time, 50 Cent was riding a wave of massive success, and Diddy, already a powerful mogul, quickly became a prime target. Their ongoing feud has been defined by diss tracks, sharp insults, and subtle digs across interviews and social media. It first grabbed headlines in 2006 with 50 Cent's diss track, The Bomb, directly calling out Diddy. Over the years, 50 has branded Diddy as inauthentic, while Diddy has remained composed, refusing to let 50's attacks provoke him. The recent courtroom upheaval triggered by 50 Cent's Netflix documentary and the leaked audio adds a new chapter to their long-running feud. 50 Cent has made it clear he's far from finished targeting Diddy. The documentary exposed troubling details about Diddy's life, and the audio, featuring awkward and revealing moments, only escalated the tension. For Diddy, this is the most significant threat to his reputation in years. While he's previously shrugged off insults, this public exposure is much harder to dismiss. 50 Cent capitalized on the opportunity, using his platform to deliver a blow when Diddy was least prepared. What do you think about all this?